Mach7 Podcast, the greatest podcast on Earth. I don't know why other podcasts even try. We are emanating live from the Arctic tundra. I'm the Ruby of Kukundu, Andrew. Joining me this week is the Hitcher, Ice-T.
What's up, guys?
The Lonely Polar Bear, Chris.
Yeah.
And Black Frost, Abby.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
Oh, he's super dangerous. Those are all Mighty Boosh references, so good luck figuring those ones out.
But shouldn't one of us be Old Greg then?
No, because it's all from the Arctic Tundra episode.
I have a question.
Why isn't Old Greg in the Arctic Tundra?
Dude, I don't know. He's only in one episode. What do you want from me?
Do you want to answer?
When did you start referring to him as Ice-T and not...
Since just now. Here's my plan, right? I figure it'll become one of those things where when your parents like something that you do, it suddenly becomes less cool.
Oh, no, you're only going to make my ego get bigger.
No, we'll see. When I do it constantly, you'll see how much you hate it.
Oh, no, it's going to be fantastic.
So what's going on, guys? What's happening?
We have projects.
We have projects for Mach7, and it's glorious.
It's weird.
It's fun. That's what it is. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Not only do we have projects, but we're making progress on said projects.
Which is even weirder.
Which is super nice.
Like, we're actually getting a different levels of production rather than just script writing.
Yeah.
We are now actually casting voices and actually going to use those casts.
Yeah.
I blame the lack of talking swords.
It's probably the case, yeah.
And we don't know everybody's history, including the parents' childhood. So.
That's a good point, too. And,
we miss you, Stuart.
Yeah. Well, I still see him at Shadowrun, but...
Anyway.
Yeah, random.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Abby, you are the main writer for one of them. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of a snippet of what the project you're writing?
Okay. It's called Sorry Is Not Enough, or SIGN, as we like to call it, because we're math nerds here. And
well,
I don't know why
speak for yourself.
Fine.
I'm a total math nerd too, but I just don't want to offend people.
I like math.
I hate math.
Everyone but Ice-T is a math nerd here.
Who'da thunk?
Shut up, bro.
I mean, you want yourself to be called Ice-T.
Of course.
That's not something a math person does. Maybe like Ice Tangent.
Abby, continue telling us about your project, please.
All right. So it's another Halo Reach machinima, but it's not set in the same world as Gamma Squad. It's completely different, and it's a drama series as opposed to a comedy. And it's got a smaller cast. There are 2 leads, and there's going to be 2 side characters, and the whole it's kind of exploring the ideas of forgiveness and justice and what happens when 2 people who have very, very strong convictions about morals, but those convictions oppose each other, and they both need something from each other. And so, like, what happens in that interaction? So, someone wants to, make sure that crimes are paid for, and the other person wants to ensure that, forgiveness happens. And so it's going to be an ongoing tension between those 2 people. So, yeah, that's it. With it, Carol and Samai are the 2 leads. Carol's a Black Ops specialist, and Samai is an alien civilian.
Whoa, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Hey,
dude, it's like you're giving away the whole show.
Yeah. So, ta-da. That's the background.
Great.
So, yeah.
And today we did some voice casting for it.
Yep, and there were a number of excellent reads.
Good.
It was a lot of fun. I was grinning through parts that I shouldn't be grinning through. Like,
it's that feeling where you're like, this is my baby about to be born.
Yeah. Well, most women, I don't feel grin during that period of time, but yes.
Well, you feeling that baby inside your belly and all that kind of stuff. You're excited.
I don't think she's ready to hear about that yet.
Oh.
Do you know this from experience?
About creating something and...
Yeah.
Well, when she has her kids, she'll know.
Yeah, she'll know.
I got your reference.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's awesome. And then also, we're going to be doing a little more about it on Monday, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to be actually filming them. So I'm going to go do location scouting. I just feel so important saying location scouting.
You should.
In Halo Reach. And then I'm going to make sure that I've got enough XP to make the adjustments to the characters as needed. So,
excellent.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
There might be robot prosthetics, and it might be awesome.
There might be, but we're not going to give away if there are or not.
We already gave them enough spoilers with the whole alien thing.
Come on, Chris.
Shooting in Halo. I mean, nobody would have guessed.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there are no aliens in Halo at all.
Ever. Nope. It's about humanity, and that's it.
No, seriously, are there aliens in Halo?
There's a couple. There's one or two.
Yeah.
Just a little bit here and
Yeah.
there.
Sprinkled throughout.
Yeah. Not the main focus of any stories or not the main antagonist or anything like that.
Right, because it's about Leonidas versus Xerxes, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So-
Spartans.
Travis, what have you been working on?
I have been working with you on a fantastic project that we're about to be doing. And I want to give a shout out to Ross Scott. We've mentioned him a couple times on his podcast, and he was the main inspiration on this. And we want to thank him because he came up with a fantastic machinima called Freeman's Mind.
Right.
And it can be found at AccursedFarms.com, his own
Throwing
website.
it in the link dump.
There we go.
Right next to goats.
Yep.
What he did, which is probably the most creative thing I've seen, is he used a silent protagonist as the lead character in his machinima. And what he did was he did a regular playthrough through Half-Life 1, in which he basically gave the inner monologues of what's going on inside of his of Gordon Freeman's mind as he's going through. It's totally off the wall humor. It's totally inappropriate throughout most of it, and it's just hilarious. And so we got that idea going, and I was playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag one day, and I came in just after starting it because there's this point where you first meet the French guy. What's his name? Francois?
Olivier.
Close enough. And so
Essentially the same name, really.
it's French, so they won't mind.
I mean, they might.
So there's a point where you first meet him, and it just kind of pissed me off.
Really, really badly.
And so I came up with a line for it, and I told Andrew about it. And he absolutely loved it. We told Abby at the same meeting, and she's like, well, that's great. So I'm like, well, this has got to be a thing. So the nice thing is we're using a silent protagonist, and with the help of all of my teammates here, we've come up with a really good script that's been voiced, and it's just so funny, and I absolutely love it. We filmed it. We're doing voice casting. I'm doing a little bit of the music work behind it. You've put in some music work, some additional photoshopping.
I'm doing most of the editing and stuff. So
He is doing a lot of post-production. But it's going to be a lot different than Freeman's Mind in some ways. But in other ways, it's
very much inspired by, but trying not to be the same.
well, it's very different because in this case, there's a lot of dialogue from the NPCs. And
There isn't a whole lot of actual action happening at any point.
Exactly. And with that gives us a different problem to work with. And we've found some creative ways, and I hope you guys will enjoy it.
But for serious, that one line he's talking about, you need to listen to it for that one line.
Well, that's where the whole script came out of.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that one
The
line.
entire basis was framed around having that one line.
And it's
Oh,
seriously the best line.
It was so hard to try out for that script because I was busting a gut
pretty
throughout
damn
the whole read.
I appreciate that. I hope our audience actually appreciates it just as much as we do.
If they don't, then they just have a shitty sense of
Yeah,
humor.
they
I mean,
Shout out to our
We
listeners.
even got Abby
Sounds more like a
swearing
call-out.
on it. So
Well, I mean,
it's
it's a
good
script, so it doesn't count.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like when you're reading a book in grade school and there's like swearing or the N word. in it.
Butts. Oh, N-word.
Yeah, you're allowed to say
I
it
like
'cause
butts
it's the script.
better.
Well,
but
I mean, you can go with
I
butts.
prefer butt better too, but didn't you read Huckleberry Finn?
Yeah,
Absolutely not out loud though.
Oh, really?
we read it
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah, Yeah.
If we did, we wouldn't have to say that word
I
though.
probably didn't have
yeah.
to say it, but you were allowed to.
None of us, I think, actually said the N word. I
don't
think
think
all of
I
us
would.
just kind of
I
went.
had people in my class that
And-
did,
Nice.
like,
Oh.
eagerly.
The very nice
Fun
guy
fact,
Jim.
I live in racist Republicanville.
Oh,
Oh, I do too, but that doesn't mean I have to jive with it.
I mean,
So-
I didn't say it, but other people did.
yeah, that's.
So we haven't come up with a solid title for this
Oh,
project
you're
yet.
absolutely correct. No, I forgot about this part. Please continue.
So yesterday, Travis was like, I'm relying on you to come up with a title, because he was doing all this other stuff.
Which isn't exactly a whole lot of stuff. I created the script
Right. I mean,
in an hour, and then we
still.
filmed it. I'm doing the music. You're doing all the editing. But anyway,
still.
please continue.
So, and like I asked him if he wanted it to be like having mind in the phrase as, like a reference to Freeman's mind. He's like, absolutely not. So
This is my thing. I'm
Yeah.
going to give
Yeah.
Ross a shout out in the credits for sure. But
So I started just throwing out the most random titles I could possibly think of. and just like I looked around my room and was like, oh, my door is ajar. Let's make a title of The Door to My Life is Ajar, right? So these are some of the ones I sent to him. The first one was The Adventures of Chips Dubbo Through Space and Time, which I thought was pretty good. And then Travis called me out on it because I couldn't think of another like funny name. Like that was just the first thing that came to mind. So he called me out on having Chips Dubbo in there, which is from Halo. If you don't understand that reference, and so I decided just to turn it around and call him Dips Chubbo instead.
And he is now the messiah of Mach7.
Which I like a lot more. I think it's a lot funnier, Dips Chubbo. The next one was the inner monologue of a slightly sociopathic accountant.
I love that
Dude,
one.
I'm an accounting major, and I'm slightly sociopathic.
Slightly.
I love that title. That's probably my favorite of all the ones you tossed out.
That is a beautiful title. Liking cats does not add the slightly.
Okay, I can form emotional connections with living things, and therefore
I don't believe that's true.
Can you repeat that one more time, that title? Because I just want to hear it one more time. It just sounds like music to my ears when you hear it. It's like an ear orgasm. It's an eargasm.
The inner monologue of a slightly sociopathic accountant.
Oh.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful.
The next one, I just remembered that you talked about Ben & Jerry's a little bit, so it was All I Want Is Ice Cream. The next one, which I think is my favorite, is First Day of Work Simulator, the sequel to Merchant Ship Simulator. Which is the full title, the whole thing in there. I was going to include which is the full title in the title, but I decided that would be too much.
That's where you decided too much? Because you continued for a couple hours.
The Origin of Clark O'Haron. Abby,
don't even look at me
O'Haron,
like you don't
right?
know. You're O'Haron.
Clark O'Haron.
Oh, right.
You asked Mike for a last name, and he said O'Haron, so I decided to play off that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
What?
But it's not Clark.
It was I know, but I just came up with a first name.
Okay, it's a lady.
Well, whatever.
Okay.
I didn't even know that. All you asked was for a last name,
She
and
could
that's
have
all
a
the information
brother.
you gave us.
Or an uncle? I mean, she has to have a dad.
True.
Why did I leave my room?
Why do I live in Canada?
I ask myself those questions every
Exactly.
day.
Like, it's just stuff that's going through my mind. I'm like, oh, this could be a title. Even though it makes absolutely no sense.
Oh, no, they get worse from here.
I
It's
quit.
down the hill.
I
Downhill
quit-
fast.
I quit my D&D group to move to Montreal and work for the shadiest company in the world. I thought that one might be a bit long, but I wasn't sure.
It's a little chatty.
bit.
I don't think it's going to fit in the YouTube spot.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
And then we talk about my thing for a little while. Hang on. I'm scrolling through my texts here to...
No, we talked for a good while yesterday.
I can tell.
Which we normally don't. Like, he refuses to text me more than 3 times.
I mean, I'd refuse to text you more than 3 times, too.
Absolutely you do. Yes. Very dickish of you.
Yes.
A world full of terrors, memories notwithstanding.
Deep, man.
I know.
Too deep.
I didn't like that. That was deep. I was like, nope, that's not clickbait.
Nope.
Inner monologues of a schizo account is clickbait. If I say that on related videos, I got it. I will make time to watch that video.
A pair of legs called John. The best kind of reference.
But then my witty comeback was, please say it.
So, okay, I was making a reference to, you were talking about how, like, Web Zeros had references to Elite World in it.
Yeah, because I want our music to be able to play from, like, the podcast and that type of stuff in our stuff.
And just, like, in various places.
Yeah.
So I made a reference to Web Zeros, and I call it the best kind of reference. Sounds like the best kind of reference would also be a good title. So he said, if we wanted that title, I'd have to write the whole thing over and fill it with references, or just call it GSO. And then my response was, hey-oh!
Ow!
To be fair, GSO does have a lot of references to other
GSO
stuff.
does have a lot of references.
Not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, just, it's the
It's
truth.
red versus blue and reincarnated. Let's be
Well,
real.
look, I'm not calling it that. Probably just an exit shot.
It's like everything I would say, like everything I texted him, like he would just pull out like any like
Just like little
phrases. Just ooh.
That's the noise I made too every time. Agents of Abstergo. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I got you.
I got it too.
The Memory Research Who Loved Me.
See?
Like the spy who loved me.
Yeah, exactly.
Only, yeah.
Thanks, man.
No, I got you.
Captain Dilt's 2, The Winter Pirate.
That's so bad.
I think I'm good for tonight.
Yeah, that one's a little bit weird out of context.
Just a little bit.
And then we started talking more about Dips Chubbo, so I think that was about the end.
we spent a good hour talking about Chips Dubbo. I mean,
Dips
Chubbo. Dips Chubbo.
I really want to go with the adventure of Dips Chubbo through space and time.
That one's actually really good.
So then,
But I want to name that like the episode 1.
yeah,
Like the title being the inner monologues, and then like episode 1.
the adventure of
Please,
Dips
I
Chubbo.
like the inner monologue. I think that one's my favorite. That one just sings in a certain manner.
It does. It's an eargasm.
Most accountants secretly want to be pirates, so...
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
that's about it.
that's been our conversing
Yep.
yesterday.
That was our night.
Going back to projects, and speaking of GSO, Andrew.
Dude, what's up?
Great segue.
Yeah,
Dude, that was like a masterful segue. I was impressed.
thank you. Oh,
So, the other day we were talking, and we were just like, sort of like making jokes, but
Can we talk about Battlefield yet?
no, absolutely
kidding.
not. Please never talk about Battlefield ever again in my life. So, we talked about possibly rebooting GSO in a way where we just make like not really rebooting because it's gonna be one episode, but we're gonna make like a final episode to just sort of end that series because it's been hanging there for about a year on like episode 11 or whatever. So I was just like coming up with ideas, and I came down with a pretty solid concept that I like, and it's basically gonna be, since the people we have left in the group are myself, Abby, who are Jack and Lucy,
Hey.
and then
And then
Okay.
Chris.
Who
think-
was maybe potentially
Oh, I
Kronos
thought you'd
at some
actually-
point
oh yeah,
in
I forgot
time.
about that. Well, you know,
That never actually got recorded. I was the announcer in Watson Explains Humanity.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah,
he
yay.
was okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
and then
I had one line.
proud of you. So then,
Yeah, the rest were Ross's. Keep going.
so we don't have Stuart, but I wanted to include Jeff because I felt like that trio of characters is the best in the whole series.
Yeah.
So I was like, we'll just put Travis in for Jeff, and we'll make a joke out of why his voice sounds different, which I did. That I'm pretty proud of that. So then the whole idea is that they were like being extracted from their mission, but then they were going to be rescued by these other squads that Command sent.
That had been mentioned before
Yeah.
previously.
Well, Alpha Squad was mentioned in episode 1,
Mm-hmm.
and so now what the commander was threatening in episode 1 is now taking place. So it's going to introduce 2 new characters, Alpha and Beta, and
They
They're
are
the
fantastic.
best.
Oh, they are wonderful.
they are pretty awesome.
You know,
characters.
I think they're going to steal the show kind of like
Oh,
Jack and Jeff
absolutely.
did. Jack and Jeff stole the show
I think
back
so.
back in the original Game of Squad, and I think for this finale, I'm pretty sure Beta and Alpha are going to steal the show again.
Yes, I get to be more than just angry. I get to be more than just angry.
You
Like,
get
you
to
finally
be
get to be
happy
happy.
for once.
I get to be happy. And like,
It's
I
the best kind of happiness,
We're doing a lot of.
too.
If you guys haven't noticed, we're doing a lot of funny, crazy people stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe
Pretty
it's because we're
great.
like self-reflecting.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We're just projecting onto these characters.
Yeah. Like, it at times it was definitely fun to just shout as Lucy, because I have a lot of internal rage problems sometimes because of grad school. But, it's also nice to do a variation of just a bad Steve Downs impression.
Right.
So,
No, I should mention Watson's going to be there too, but he's not going to have a very big role.
No, he's gonna be more like
He has
comedic relief.
Yeah.
from the comedy.
From the comedy.
comedic relief from the comedy.
He's literally going to have like 2 lines, I think.
It's mostly just gonna be him being, I don't know, stranded,
Silly. Yeah.
left out of
Poor
the
Watson.
group, like a
Aw.
regular alien. Who
Watson.
wants the aliens in the group anyway?
Yeah.
They're like the redhead stepchild.
Well, I mean,
Yeesh.
so look forward to that.
Yeah, so
Not-
that's like 3 things that are actually probably going to happen.
I am excited.
Oh no, they're definitely going to happen.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, barring like a meteor hitting the school or
Right.
And
something.
Which could happen also. I mean,
and I gotta say, the voice acting's really improved for Game of Squad.
yeah.
Not because I didn't do a single line yet, so I was not saying because I've said anything.
Oh, that's true. We probably should have had you
Why?
read for Jeff. Oh, just
Just
Yeah,
with the
it would have been a
feel
little
of it.
crowded. I mean,
maybe.
We can always do it next week.
Yeah,
that's true.
we have time. I still haven't finished that script yet, so
Yeah, so
I'll get working on it.
but we have a different environment that we'll probably be recording in, and it's making everybody a lot more comfortable in front of the mic.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because people are sitting down that they can actually do more.
And they don't
stuff.
have like a dozen people staring at them while they do it.
Yeah, they're
That
not
definitely
And
helps.
the room isn't like 120 degrees.
Also good.
That too.
Well, plus you're not in that tiny little booth that had all that stuff around you, like. You had like to stand in front of you,
Yeah.
and you have the walls right next to your shoulders. If you have broad shoulders like me, they're like right there. And I'm like, what do I say? It was bad.
So we won't be using the recording booth, which it definitely made it sound better than what we're going to be putting out. I guarantee it. But I think the snowball will do us well enough.
But, I'd rather have us sound natural and, do it well, but have shitty audio quality, rather than have fantastic audio quality, but shitty voice acting.
And actually having the audio files will be nice, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because,
they won't mysteriously disappear all the time.
yeah, like every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then we have to re-record everything. So
Oh, it's so good. I am so happy about
that's
this.
pretty painful.
We've already discussed the ending of the episode, and it's going to be so good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Which, one thing we also discussed is that since we have, the trio, and then adding Alpha and Beta, we'll have 5 characters possibly on screen at once. And the problem is, I don't know if we have access to 5 Xbox One controllers, so we're going to have to get kind of creative.
Wait, how many Xboxes do...
I have an Xbox, he has an Xbox. I have a controller, he has a controller.
I've got 4 controllers.
For the
Xbox One?
Yeah, because I went to Thanksgiving break, and my brothers and my dad were going to play with me, and so I bought some extra controllers.
Oh, well, problem solved.
Problem solved.
I assumed you would only
We
have
were
one.
actually going to have to, we were discussing rewriting everything to be able to make, or ways to be able to shoot it, to be able to fit.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, no longer a problem.
We were thinking, okay, we're going to do 3 people and then 2 people, or write it so that only 4 people were on the screen at one time.
This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
we
no.
were
Well,
having
that
troubles.
solves my problem. All right.
No, it kind of going off on a tangent, but it was so much fun, because my brothers had
That's
never
all
played...
the podcast is a
Yeah.
giant tangent.
Giant tangent.
It's just choo-choo, get on board.
Thanksgiving...
Nice train noise. I like it.
Thanksgiving, my brothers
trains.
played for the first time Halo 4, which was really nice because that was the first game that I had played before they had played. Because when I was a kid, they had both played Halo 1 and 2 on their computers or something like that, and then they both got to hang out with guys who had Xbox 360s to play Halo 3. And so Halo Wars, not Halo Wars, I haven't played Halo Wars yet, but Halo 4 was the first one that I played before them. So I was able to, give them the controllers and just watch them play through the campaign, and got to see them react to things. And there were points because there are parts of the lore that the game doesn't explain that well.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
That doesn't explain it at all.
Yeah, which is kind of frustrating because I love Halo 4, but that is one thing where I think they dropped the ball on. But it was so much...
Here, you need to read a book before you get this game.
Yeah.
Here's a homework assignment.
It's difficult for people like Travis.
Oh, no, I knew ahead of time.
Man, I wish I could read.
Yeah. But it was just so much fun to have my brothers go, okay, so what's this person's deal? Okay, well, why is that happening? I'd be like, well...
And you having all
back
the
in
answers.
the ancient days of the Forerunners, the precursors, it was a blast.
The Forerunners have precursors?
Yep.
Yep, they're...
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
It's just like the Protheans have precursors.
Yep.
It's a whole thing.
Which actually...
It's a great writing stunt.
Yeah, I am usually before actually reading the Forerunner trilogy by Greg Bear, I was really just did not like the idea of the ancient mysterious race. That was just...
Was it by Greg Bear or was it...
It was by Greg
Okay.
Bear that wrote...
I thought it was Eric Nyland.
No, Eric Nyland stopped after Ghost of Onyx. No, he wrote a short story in Halo Evolutions.
Ah.
But, so it was... But yeah, there was... Yeah, so usually I'm not a fan of that trope in science fiction because, Stargate has it. Mass Effect has it. Arthur C. Clarke has had it. Isaac Asimov has had it. H.G. Wells has had it. Everybody's had it. And so with Halo, it's just okay, Forerunners, just let the Forerunners, do their things. They'll just be a Deus Ex Machina for.
I love that show.
Yeah. For...
Still no ending.
Hey, get on that, buddy.
Still waiting for it.
Anyways, so and so to find out that the Forerunners had their own ancient mysterious race, the precursors, I'm like, really? But reading through the Forerunner trilogy, I was impressed.
It was by Greg Bear.
It was, yeah, so you doubt me.
Thanks for the fact check.
I thought it was
appreciate
Eric Nyland. Keep going.
I think that Greg Bear and Bear Grylls should get married so that Bear Grylls
Bear
can
Bear.
become Bear Bear. Yeah.
That takes away from the badasses. Come here, Bear Bear.
So yeah, Bear Grylls, if you're up to it.
We need this to happen. Rather than that guy just changing his last name.
Yeah.
Get
Just...
Bear Bear. Hey, Bear Bear. How are you doing, Bear Bear? Good morning, Bear Bear.
That name's still not as good as Dips Chubo.
Dips
Well,
Chubbo!
let's face it. Is anything going to be as good as Dips
No.
Chubbo?
No.
So,
Chuck
talking about...
Norris is afraid of Dips Chubbo.
Dude, Dips Chubbo's a legend. How can he not be afraid? Alright, so, you guys want to hear about some news that I have collected?
Maybe.
Are you guys interested?
Yeah.
So,
we got a little bit left.
so
I
we...
got a little bit left. You
Well-
guys take as long as you want.
Jesus, Travis, you're going to leave in the middle of the podcast?
I mean, other people have done it before.
I'm not
That's
leaving in
true.
the first 15 minutes.
I don't like there being any kind of precedent, though. I don't like it to be a thing. Okay.
Well, I don't like the president either, but
That's...
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
Alright, so we all like
shout out to
Bioware.
Obama.
We're friends with Bioware, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So,
Nod your head up and down.
as...
Yes.
Oh, I mean... Mass
What do you
Effect-
mean?
Mass Effect was good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
Perfect.
you're a friend of BioWare.
KOTOR.
I haven't played Dragon Age,
So,
and KOTOR I
as-
haven't played either, so...
As you guys may recall, back in August, or actually you probably don't recall, but back in August during Gamescom, BioWare released a trailer for a new game called Shadow Realms, which
You mentioned
I
this on the
remember this
podcast.
being mentioned, yes.
unfortunately is not about Yu-Gi-Oh! But I would totally play a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game made by BioWare.
You'd play any game by BioWare.
You're not wrong. So,
If
Shadow
It would
Realms...
be really great if they, like, had hair physics for his giant pointy hair.
It would.
I would
It'd
play
be
that
fantastic.
game.
And
Just
dude, I
for
could
hair
just
physics.
throw out my Time Wizard all the time. Be like, Time Wizard. Alright. So, Shadow Realms was... Travis has his head in his hands.
so bad.
Shadow Realms was canceled,
Okay.
first of all, because it was being developed by BioWare Austin, and they were talking about how they have like a bunch of other projects because they're working on Mass Effect 4 and The Old Republic and a new game, I guess. So Shadow Realms... Oh my god. Shadow Realms was canceled.
Wait. Did they do just a regular computer graphic trailer then? A cinematic trailer? Or did they actually use the engine? Because
I think it was just...
that's a
computer
lot of...
graphic.
Okay.
It was just like a teaser
Okay.
type thing.
So, I mean, that'd be a lot of...
Work
Work to-
down the drain.
To make the whole engine and then just be like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could use the engine for a different project, though.
And
And
it's
Why
actually...
just not keep doing the same project?
Because...
Because
Shut
maybe
up,
they
Chris.
dumb?
didn't think that it would be successful. Because it would essentially be just like Evolve. Because it was like a 4v1 multiplayer RPG type thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna
that's
get
what it really
involved.
sounds like.
That sounds like limited playability to me.
Which was released this past week.
Yes,
in case
it was.
Anyone was curious. But so out of curiosity, I went to Wikipedia and looked at BioWare's page. And in the in development section, they had Mass Effect 4, but then also a new Star Wars game.
At last, I've heard some people not complaining, but eagerly waiting for a new Star Wars game from
Yeah.
BioWare. I haven't played them.
I'm
though.
not sure if it could be referencing KOTOR 3, but
No. Don't
Yeah.
expect a KOTOR.
you don't know that.
I'm
But
pretty
in
confident.
that section, it lists all of the Old Republic like expansion pack type things as its own game. So probably going to be that. Especially since they also talked about how they were expecting a resurgence with the Old Republic because of The Force Awakens being released.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also found it interesting that there was a 6-year period a few years ago where BioWare released 4 new games, like 4 new franchises. But in the past, since then, they've only released sequels of Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Not counting the Old Republic, which is really just the successor to Knights of the Old Republic.
Yep.
So, I kind of wish they would go back to making like new games instead of sequels every
Well, I
single
mean,
year.
it's the same thing. It's the same trap that Hollywood falls into, where
Yeah, right.
they're more likely to hedge their bets on something that's going to be a sure shot, even if it's a shit game. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not
Look at
saying
Call
it's
of
gonna be
Duty.
yeah,
They keep putting one out every year.
and, it's
And people
barely
keep
any
eating
different.
it up.
In the
It's because Alpha keeps buying like 12 copies.
Yeah.
freaking
Fucking
Alpha.
alpha.
Dips Chubbo. Why? Yeah, so in the most unsurprising news, a new Call of Duty was announced for 2015. So
Oh,
Congratulations.
gosh. What is this, Advanced Warfare?
I think so, yeah. I think it's
Does it,
Advanced Squared Warfare.
Does
That's
it
what it's
have a dog that you can develop real feelings for?
called. Yeah.
Or Fish AI? Where
Yeah, both.
They,
It's actually a dog you have feelings for, but it has Fish AI.
Damn, so they've gotten up to like the advancedness of Super Mario 64 now.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, okay. Quick, but is it really called Advanced Squared?
No, I have no
Okay,
idea.
okay,
Absolutely
good.
not.
Making
There
a
are
joke.
sometimes, there are sometimes where I wasn't sure about the...
I know, we have dry humor on this
Yeah.
on this podcast, but you have to think about it.
Well, it's
They can't really go back in time.
But the thing is
Well, it could.
Call
Huh.
of Duty, I would almost expect that sort of
I know,
title
right?
from them. The
Advanced.
Advanced Squared.
I mean, in 3 years you might get Advanced Squared.
Or just the new advancement.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Advanceder.
The new advancement of
Advanced
calling
Warfare
Duty.
2.
I mean, they could really just do like what Battlefield did and just do Call of Duty Police Brutality, but...
Well, they could, but they probably
It's a
won't.
good game.
Okay, so speaking of...
He's referencing Hardline, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This actual game.
So speaking of Star Wars, do you guys care about the new Battlefront game?
I do, actually. I'm actually excited for it because it's made by DICE, who make
Yeah.
Battlefield, and it's going to be a fantastic looking game.
It's been a
Battlefronts.
long time since I played Battlefront, but it was
That's
a
a
lot
lie.
of
I
fun.
played it a couple times, and I remember one of the times I was stuck as a Wookiee, and I hated it.
Nice.
I always like playing General Grievous or Obi-Wan.
Oh, Grievous, of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
So there's a rumor, and I don't really know how. It's not really a very good rumor, but they said that the battles in the new Battlefront game will span the entire Star Wars saga,
Okay.
and that it will serve as a prequel to The Force Awakens, which I don't really know how that works, but
Can there be, like, a battle where you're fighting against the good guys in Episode 1, and you get to, like, slap Jar Jar in the face?
I imagine so, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Probably do fight Gungans.
I would actually be interested. Like, I don't own any Star Wars games. We used to have a lot on my brother's GameCube, namely Rogue Squadron. A lot of
That
Rogue
was a good
Squadron.
game.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Keep going.
Travis apparently didn't think so.
Nah.
But so I it might be time to start adding some Star Wars games. Start adding more games to my collection than Halo. I've got Halo and a bit of Valve.
I can just see DICE doing it really well with their multiplayer, because they do very well with multiplayer. They do it well.
And the rumor also said that the hero mode will be in multiplayer, which is sort of like, isn't that like the whole point of the game?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why is that?
Like, you get to a certain point where, like, you're, like, as you're going through the game, that you actually are able to, like, during the mission,
Yes.
Play
bring
as-
it out. Yeah, because, like, you have to get so many points at kills. That's
Yeah.
how it was in the previous one, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's like, I don't know why.
Like,
that's
why is
a
that
rumor?
news? Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Also, Hasbro is making a Chewbacca-themed Furby. And
No.
and
That's fantastic.
And it's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
Nothing concerning
I
Furbies
don't
is
think
fantastic.
you understand the phrase Furby.
I do know Furby.
And they don't terrify you?
They
How?
don't.
They don't terrify me, they just piss me off.
So. You,
I think it'd be cute, just get the
No.
batteries out.
No, it's not
Clearly,
cute.
You have never seen...
It is not cute at all.
like,
It's horrifying.
holy Jesus!
See, but the
Oh my
Chewbacca's,
God!
you can't see his eyes, really. You can't see Chewbacca's eyes.
That's why it's scary.
I know, that's
oh
what
my
point.
gosh.
That is not the face of mercy.
No.
That's the face of I'm watching you sleep.
Yes!
I have
Which is
actually
an
had-
issue!
I've had a number of friends with like actual horror stories about Furbies. Like not like they
You can make them go mean, you know that, right?
Yeah.
You can make them go evil.
Yeah.
The new ones, you can actually make them go bad.
That is terrifying. There was this one time where one of my friends, he was driving his car, and for some reason, I don't know why he owned a Furby, but he owned a Furby, and he had it in
I
the
love
back
Furby.
seat. And he got into a car crash. And it wasn't bad, like, he was okay.
I bet it was crying.
The Furby flew through the air into, like, the front dash. And as it went, went, whee!
Oh my god.
Hit the dash,
No.
landed, and then started going, do it again, do it again, do it
Jesus.
again. That's not the worst story I've heard, though. Another friend of mine. It was their uncle. It was either an uncle or professor.
That went flying through the car?
No, this is a different friend. Their cat was hiding somewhere in the house, and they couldn't find their cat, so they're going around saying, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Here, kitty, kitty."
Was it stuck in the wall?
And I don't know where the cat was,
No.
but they walked past the closet where they kept the kid's Furby in, and suddenly they hear the Furby start going, "Here, kitty, kitty.
Jesus.
Here, kitty, kitty.
No.
Good kitty. Yum, kitty."
God. That is so terrifying.
No.
I had a Furby. It was at my sister's. I don't remember. It, had gotten wet or something. So the voice box glitched. And one night, we always had to put him in the closet because they wouldn't, they had the light sensing thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't go properly when we turned off the room light. So we had to shove it in a closet for it to go to sleep.
Christ.
And,
Bye, Travis.
Bye, Travis.
one night,
See you guys.
Well, I mean, I
Farewell.
want the people to know that you're gone, so they don't just think you're sitting there in silence.
Bye, group. Bye, fans.
That's not coming through at all. Go on.
And this Furby that had it like short circuited or something in the middle of the night, and
my
it
God.
started doing it like had the wake up noise or whatever where it like does like a good morning like yawn kind of
Christ,
thing.
no.
And it kept doing that on loop for the first like 0.75 seconds. So it was like in the closet in the middle of the night. So to get it to shut up, because we couldn't figure out how to do it, and like my sister didn't want to throw it away or something, we threw it in the garage, and it took a week for my sister to finally, or maybe it was me, I don't remember, to finally decide to like get rid of it. So every time you opened the garage door, it was just
Jesus. So,
So Furbies are like literally Satan.
yeah. So I had a Furby that I kept in my closet.
Lots of Furbies in
Yeah.
closets.
Like, I don't know.
There's a good place to hide them, apparently.
Like, when I was younger, you know, I was like, all right, whatever, this is kind of cool. But then I just sort of put it in a closet and sort of forgot about it. So, Q probably, man, I don't know, probably 10 years later since I've ever even looked at it. And my mom is moving to Louisiana. So, I'm like packing up my room at her house, you know, getting all my stuff out or whatever. And I get the Furby out. I think I leave the room for some reason. But then I just hear this really strange, like, screeching noise. It was just like, And I'm like, what is this? Why is this happening? So then I go into my room. I'm looking through my stuff, you know, trying to find what the source of this noise is. I pick up the Furby, and I'm like, oh god, it's still alive. This is terrifying.
I have no idea why there's a resurgence of the damn things.
There's actually this one video online that you can look up, and it's for some reason, whatever reason, someone puts a Furby in the microwave.
Jesus. That's morbid.
You turn it on, and the Furby, like, you know, it starts, you know, the microwave starts up, and the Furby starts sparking, because, you know.
Because they do?
Because it's in the microwave, and then the Furby goes, cock-a-doodle-doo, and bursts into flames.
That's
I'm
incredible.
gonna have to look this up.
Oh, I'll be able to look it up, put it in the link dump.
like Furby in the microwave. And there's like two different ones because someone told me about one that they had found and it said something completely different than the one I saw. But
That's
oh
incredible.
my god,
Alright, so moral of the story, Furbies are horrifying.
Furbies
Yep.
are terrifying.
And the Chewbacca one kind of
It's
makes me
pretty horrible.
want to hide inside for the rest of my life.
I thought you typically wanted to do that
Yeah,
anyway.
but now I have a good reason.
Fair enough.
That's the difference.
Why aren't you coming out to class, Andrew?
Well,
The Chewbacca Furby.
they're out there. They're in the world. Alright, so I got two more stories for you guys.
All right.
Okay?
You guys like Bethesda?
I haven't.
Fallout, Elder Scrolls?
I
Yeah.
actually haven't played any of their games, but
I'm
continue.
cool with them.
So,
Yeah, I've got no issue.
Bethesda has announced that they are, for the first time, going to host their own press conference at E3.
No.
Okay?
Which pretty much means that they're going to be announcing something pretty major.
Yeah?
Yes.
Likely to be Fallout 4. You
I'm
gotta
okay with
imagine. Theoretically, it could be Elder Scrolls 6, but I wouldn't expect
They
that.
released
Not that
Elder.
big.
They released Skyrim more recently than
Exactly.
Vegas, though. So.
Yeah,
And-
well, they didn't even do Vegas, but
I think there's more chomping
Obsidian
at the
did-
bit
did
for
whatever.
Fallout because
because if you look at the space of time, because I don't care about Fallout so much, so I would like it to be Elder Scrolls. But if you look at the space of time between Oblivion and Skyrim, it was like 5 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wouldn't expect an Elder Scrolls game until 2016 or 2017. But yeah, so shout out to Bethesda.
Yeah.
Looking forward to watching that. Should be interesting.
Yep.
I like it when developers do press conferences at E3 rather than like Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah.
Just because they tend to be more interesting.
They tend
Yeah.
to be more game focused.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, was it 2013 that the Xbox One was
Yeah.
announced? And people were just like,
There's
it
just
was
no
like,
games.
no games. There was just like, Netflix is a thing on here, and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other thing. It's like, you're at a gaming conference.
Right.
You tell us about the games. And then E2014, it was Halo. And
Yeah, it's
people
like
were
all
losing
games.
things. Like, losing their minds. I lost mine.
So the last thing, you guys hear about Spider-Man?
Yes.
He's going to be in the Marvel Cineverse now, correct?
Because
Yep.
Sony and Disney struck a deal where they would actually share the Spider-Man character in their
Yeah.
movies.
I wonder who they're actually going to bring on to play Spidey. Like,
Should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if they're keeping Andrew Garfield.
I think they said they're not.
They're not. Okay, they
I
aren't.
believe they said they're recasting.
Because I've heard I've heard yes and no.
Hmm.
But okay, yeah. Then I'm really curious as to who they're going to
I
cast.
think
and if
they
it's
should
gonna...
make like Zach Galifianakis Spider-Man.
They should bring back Tobey Maguire. Bring back Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire, preferably.
I'm gonna smack you.
Alright,
I
Lucy,
mean,
calm down.
the issue I see is like, I was okay with Tobey Maguire and like Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Spider-Man 3 was just
Spider-Man 3 was very poorly written, and we'll leave it at that.
Spider-Man 1 was like my favorite superhero movie for a long time. And then the other ones came out, I'm like, these aren't quite as good.
They weren't quite as good.
A lot of people I've heard like Spider-Man 2 better. I like Spider-Man 1 better than
Yeah.
Spider-Man
I
2.
really like Spider-Man.
I mean, it helps that they had Willem Dafoe.
Oh my gosh,
That's
Willem
true.
Dafoe hamming it up. What beauty. That is how you know there is beauty in the world, with Willem Dafoe yelling at himself in the mirror. Like, that
true.
is how you know beauty exists.
And then you watch Boondock Saints and you see Willem Dafoe and drag, and that's how you know that beauty doesn't exist.
And I'm also wondering if they're going to try to fit Miles Morales into the cinematic universe.
Oh yeah, he's the
ultimate Spider-Man.
right.
Yeah, he is.
Honestly, I think that
was-
would be the best way to do it, is to kind of separate themselves from the other
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
images instead of having it be Peter Parker, have
Yeah.
it be Miles Morales.
That would be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, like, I wasn't sure about, someone else taking the mantle of Spider-Man, because it's not like the Robin or the Green Lantern where it gets passed down as a legacy mantle.
Right.
Like, you don't pass down the Superman mantle, you don't pass down the Spider-Man mantle, but I picked up the first few comics of Miles Morales. Holy smokes, that kid is so much fun. That kid is Spider-Man. So I would be delighted to see him on the big screen.
What was the not really like controversy, but what was like special about? Was he black or
He-
gay?
He is
No.
half black, half Hispanic.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
he's
Mulatto.
biracial.
Yeah.
He's biracial.
I saw
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Saw a news story about that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
And
Yeah.
a bunch of people were pissed because they thought Marvel was only doing it
For the stunt.
as a
Yeah.
publicity stunt.
Of
And
course.
it was like,
Like anybody
no,
ever
not
does.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're like, hey guys, look, we're racially equal because we have a black guy.
If they
That's
tried-
a publicity
Yeah,
stunt.
if they
Yeah.
tried really hard to point it out, then yeah, maybe. But
Which is kind of one thing that I really appreciated about, and why I don't get that people thought that Locke from Halo was a publicity stunt.
it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense.
like, just deal with it.
Because they're like, oh, Locke's a character, and then they release images of his actor, and his actor, Mike Coulter, is like, I hadn't seen him before this, but it's like, oh, okay, he's black. And it wasn't like, hey, look, we're being progressive. It's just like, no,
This is the character.
this is
so.
the
thing
character.
is, I
This is the
mean,
guy.
like, there are so many white guys who have black voice actors too. I mean, like
It's true.
Brick from Borderlands,
Yeah.
who's like, I mean,
why don't you just make him black?
they should have just made him black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, that way you can have two badass black people, and you don't have to be like, wow, like,
yeah.
it's like, they should just have Keith Davis voice everybody.
Keith David.
Keith David, yes, I second that.
I'm
Keith
on board with
David-
that.
Yes, Keith David is incredible.
All female characters too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Dude, yes. I would cosplay a female that was voiced by Keith David.
I'd cosplay as Keith David, except I wouldn't because then that would be blackface and
That would be an
Yeah.
issue, yeah.
that'd be bad.
I watched The Thing for the first time, last semester, which is one of Keith David's earlier film roles, and that was an interesting film.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a lot of I don't know if I just got used to The Flood and District 9, so that I wasn't actually that grossed out by the gross out scenes. Maybe I just got desensitized, but
Could be.
yeah. But there's a lot of swearing in that film. There's a lot.
I'm playing Saints Row 4, and
How's that going?
Keith David is your vice president.
And Keith David plays Keith David.
Yeah.
Yes, Keith David as Keith David, the vice president. And that's kind of interesting.
I love that in the Saints Row series, Keith David in Saints Row 1 played a character named Julian, who was I don't know if he was killed in the first one or something, but then he comes back in for Keith David as Keith David. It's like, well, that's interesting. I think they make a reference to the fact that he sounds like Julian too, or something at some point. But
I mean,
I don't remember.
Burt Reynolds is in Saints Row 3.
That's true.
He's the mayor of a Steelport. I was sad because I ended up picking the ending where you go to kill Killbane
Right.
instead of saving your dudes.
You're a terrible person.
Okay, so I saved my dudes in the first ending, and then you get the option to replay the mission to go to the other ending.
All right, that's fine.
And
I'll allow that.
after playing through both endings, I prefer the one where you go to kill Killbane
I think I do too.
because, like, the Gangsters in Space mission is just not fun. It's dumb and boring, and I don't like it. And, you know, the whole going up on the giant helicarrier and kicking everybody's ass
Was
is
pretty awesome.
such a better ending to the game. Like, after Gangsters in Space, I was like, this isn't even an ending to the game. And then, after the helicarrier, it was an ending to the game. And I was sad, because if you choose that ending, you know, Burt Reynolds dies.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is.
Kind of think, speaking of odd things in space, have you guys
Okay.
heard of Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah.
The movie.
Yes, that's the one where Channing Tatum plays a guy who's like a guy that's hybridized with a wolf, so
Yes.
he's a werewolf, but not really.
No,
Not
shocking.
really. No, but you guys have heard of it. It is not a good movie.
No?
It is.
Shocking.
It is not a good movie.
I thought it was going to be great.
It was
Blockbuster of the year.
There was the main character played by
Mila Kunis.
Mila
yeah.
Kunis, named Jupiter. Jupiter doesn't get to do stuff for 90% of the
Oh,
movie.
well.
She gets to sit around, have things explained to her, and get rescued until like the last 10 minutes.
Glad her name is in the title.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's like
She's-
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
yeah, but she is the main character. Like, you follow her perspective.
Yeah.
There's a whole ton of just contrived stuff. The people keep on complaining about the plot being too confusing.
Mm-hmm.
The plot makes sense. It's just drowned in all this, like, kind of high-handed talk
Right.
that you have to sift through to, you know, discover it. And there's a romance that comes out of left field. Like, you kind of assume it's going to happen because it's Hollywood and there is a good-looking guy and a good-looking girl. So you kind of assume.
Right.
But at the same time, when it starts, it's like you guys have had no chemistry whatsoever. You guys even haven't had dialogue together that hasn't been, let's not die. Like...
I mean, that's important in forming a relationship.
yeah. So it is not a good movie, but it is so much fun. It is...
It's one of those movies that's like so bad that
Oh
it's just
my
fun
God.
to laugh at.
It is so much fun to watch this movie. I am so glad I spent money to go see it in theaters. It was a blast. It was over the top. It had this villain who was always whispering, aside from some lines in which he just randomly shouted and then went back to whispering. And bees, guys, bees can
Not the
detect,
bees.
Bees can detect royalty.
Wait, what?
That's a plot point.
I mean, the queen bee is called the queen bee because of human labeling, not because it's actually royal.
And
People know that, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, the
It
Queen
is
of
science
England is
fiction.
not a bee.
it is science
The
fiction.
bees just start
Probably.
stinging him in the face, and they're like, "No, not the bees."
Man, wouldn't
Oh.
that be like such a plot twist in real life if, like, Queen Elizabeth just one day takes off her mask and it's just a
Is a bee.
hive of bees?
I'd watch
Oh,
that
man.
movie.
And also, there was one other thing. Oh, at the beginning of the movie, there is the most contrived robbery ever. Like, you know how most robberies are like, oh, you stumble across the robber, or if it is like such a violent robbery, it's, you know, coming upon someone in a dark alley, or you expect there to be, like, you know, some antagonistic relationship between the robber and this person. Nope, just a bunch of guys barrel in through some random apartment and start shooting.
Okay.
That sounds a lot like Payday.
It was not a good movie, but it was so much fun. So random things in space, and it made me want to have a Halo movie so badly, because it had spaceships, it had slip space. It wasn't called slip space, but it
course
was
not.
slip space.
Yeah.
It had giant reptilian aliens that spoke in guttural voices. It
Not
had
the tears.
politics. It was just a lot of fun.
Who was the other star in that movie? Wasn't there like an older action star?
Yeah, there's Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
You
Did he
guys,
Does he
die,
die?
or-
Do you guys want a spoiler?
Dude, Sean
Spoiler
Bean
for
dying
Sean
is
Bean
not a spoiler.
in this movie.
Well, that's the thing. That would be the spoiler.
So he doesn't die.
He doesn't die.
He actually,
I can't watch those movies.
if you look through all of his movies, he actually doesn't die more frequently than he does.
But his most famous roles are the ones of him dying.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I read a review of it, and what I heard was it felt like it was really a huge editing mistake that kind of screwed up the movie. Like,
I can see that.
there was like, the movie was supposed to be like 3 movies that were twice as long and had a bunch of stuff in the middle so that everything wasn't horrible.
But then it's just like, nah, we're not doing a trilogy. Screw that.
But at the same time, there was, like, I can chalk this up to editing too. There was an action sequence that takes place near the first half of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like me some explosions and action sequences, but
Except
this
in Sign.
chase went on for, yes, aside from Sign. This chase went on for so long, and like, for some action sequences, there are beats to them. There are conversations, in a sense, in action scenes. Like, in that you know why this, like, this person acts this way or does this because of who they are. You know, it was just mooks getting shot out of the sky, one after the other. Run here, jump there, try this new thing. It went on for far longer than it needed to be. I got bored by the action sequence for nearly as quickly as I got bored at 2001 Space Odyssey, and I'm gonna get shanked for that online.
I hated 2001
I wasn't a
Space
big fan.
Odyssey.
It was that was
Like, I don't even remember what happened, because there was, like, the monkeys with the rocks, and then I
That's
fell...
the only part I remember.
And then
of
I
it.
fell asleep, and then at the end, like, there was just a giant fetus caressing the earth.
yes. Yes.
Um,
I am so glad. I have a spiel that I go through when people ask me, like, oh, what movies do you not like? I'm like, well, let me tell you about 2001 Space Odyssey, and I always end on there was a giant blue baby in front of Earth. And that's how the movie ends. That is how the movie ends.
It's not even a baby yet. It's a fetus. It's like an embryo.
That's why the sky is blue, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And it was just, like, 2001 Space Odyssey, it, like Jupiter Ascending, was more of a spectacle. It was more of a demonstration of, look what pretty things we can make with the technology that we have.
Giant fetuses.
Giant, and that
this
like,
impressive?
5-minute kaleidoscope of, you guys don't remember that?
No. I literally only remember the giant monolith.
Yeah,
Like,
monkeys,
that's it.
monolith, fetus. That's the movie to me.
Like, the thing is that 2001 Space Odyssey has points where it would be interesting, like, you can build meat on the story. Like, I actually find the part with the apes rather interesting if, you know, they didn't spend the first 5 minutes on just showing us grass and rocks before getting to the apes. But, like, you know, it had, like, a solid storyline without, like, dialogue. It had apes being apes.
It doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
They might be apes, but, you know, everybody calls apes monkeys anyway.
So, the apes, you know, doing their just usual ape thing, then they meet the monolith, and then they learn how to use tools. That makes sense. That is the perfect thing of monolith triggers evolution. Like, yes, I get it. I understand that. But then, after that, it cuts away to another 5-10 minutes of just spaceships floating to concerto music. Sure, effects are pretty, but we don't need it. We don't need it.
It's like, who cares?
It's not even like, you know, like the monkey ape sequence did fine.
I'm totally going to put a counter in, by the way, of how many times you mistakenly said monkeys.
Yeah,
So you're
last
aware.
time
Please
you
do.
said you were going to put a counter in, you didn't.
Please do.
Very true. So I probably won't,
But like, the whole ape sequence, it didn't have dialogue, but it followed. You could understand what was going on. There was progression. There was a reason to show it. Spaceships to concerto music? No, that, I don't, I'm sorry, Mr. Stanley Kubrick, who apparently is the pinnacle of filmmaking.
No.
Nah.
It,
I'm more of a Gore Verbinski kind of guy.
I mean,
Mostly because I like his name. It's a cool name.
I like directors. I don't really pay attention to who directs. Henry What's-His-Face, the guy who...
Henry Ford.
No, the guy who directed
Henry
Nightmare
Cavill.
Before Christmas.
oh, him, yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, I don't know his last name.
Yeah. It starts with an M, I think.
Yeah.
Molyneux.
No. No.
He did Coraline as well, right?
And I believe he also... Yeah, he was the main director and other stuff for Coraline.
Coraline was a good movie.
It was a good
book,
movie.
and it was a good movie. It was both.
He also... Henry Selick.
There you go.
Selnick. Something like that.
Selick, yeah.
Yeah.
Just looked it up.
Yeah. So
Good
it
work.
didn't start with an M. But
Nope, not
S
close.
is close to M, and kind of.
It's not that close.
It's closer than, like, B.
Not the P's.
I'm particularly fond of Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, he is also a very good director.
I am very fond of. I'm fond of his Hellboy films. I'm fond of Pan's Labyrinth.
I didn't like Pacific Rim as much as everybody else does.
Pacific Rim was just.
It was no. The Pacific Rim is like the most visually awesome movie, in like the past 10 years.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't like a lot of the characters,
Okay.
and I didn't like a lot of the character arcs. Like, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the show before.
With Mako.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, honestly, everybody makes a big deal out of it because she's a character who's a female who's an actual character with an actual story arc.
Yes.
Which I agree doesn't happen enough. So, good on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really find her that compelling as a character. I find her character arc to be pretty typical.
Yes. Like, and yeah, for the most part, that's how I found Pacific Rim, was that every character arc was typical. I felt like I enjoyed it. It was, like, I'm going to compare it to Jupiter Ascending, because Jupiter Ascending was again, visually very entrancing. It was visually a very beautiful movie. But, so it was that, and that there was a lot more focus on spectacle. Pacific Rim, however, was more cohesive with its character development and dialogue, and even though it was typical, like,
Yeah.
the typical plots, the romance, or the friendship, the camaraderie between Mako and Riley,
Yeah, Raleigh or something.
didn't come out of nowhere. It was built.
Yeah.
They had scenes together. And so, like, Pacific Rim is a very beautiful movie. It's a very fun movie, and yeah, it hits a lot of the same points, but I feel like it does it in a manner that makes it fun to watch.
I mean, I guess another big problem I had with it was I really hated the two scientist guys. Like, I just...
Stereotypes.
Like, the like, Genki guy I was okay with, but the depressive German guy I felt was just obstructive and a downer to a lot of the things. And there was also a big issue with, I felt like a lot of the secondary and tertiary characters I would have liked to seen a lot more of.
Like Stacker Pentecost?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That was one of my points, is that frickin' something that almost it gains to the movie, but it detracts from the movie, because Stacker Pentecost and Hannibal Chow are the best characters, and Idris Elba and Ron Perlman steal the damn film so hardcore.
They do.
And, I want them to be the main characters, but that was a point that I had.
There should be a spin-off of those two.
And, they are probably going to do prequel movies,
Nice.
which it would make sense to have Stacker Pentecost in those.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to
just
see
read that.
more of, the robots, Jaegers, fighting that weren't Gypsy Danger. I wanted to see Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha, kick serious ass.
I really...
Was that English, what you just said there? It didn't sound like English.
Crimson Typhoon and
Cherno Alpha.
Cherno Alpha. No, those were okay.
Okay.
But yeah, Crimson Typhoon, 3 Jaeger pilots. I want to see that. We didn't get to really see that in action. He got out and got taken down.
Yeah. Well, okay. Not Cherno Alpha. Crimson Typhoon does have, the honor of one of my favorite points in the movie, because they suplex a kaiju, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's they go out, and honestly, I thought those two were cooler Jaegers than
Gypsy Danger
and what's its butt?
I don't...
Hercules's. Oh my god.
I like What's Its Butt.
What's
His Butt.
New name!
It's like Striker Eureka.
Yeah.
Eureka or something.
Yeah,
Striker Urethra, that sounds painful.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, Striker Eureka sounds right.
Cherno Alpha has a nuclear reactor for a head, and it has Tesla coils that it punches things with. Frickin' the Russian Jaeger pilots are totally, like, aside from Hannibal Chow and Stagger Pentecost, the most badass characters in the movie.
They have, like, what? Do they have any lines?
They have, I believe, the female pilot has one line.
And holy smokes, they are...
Where it's like they're in the lunch hall in the background, and they're like, hey, Stacker, come sit and eat lunch with us.
Yeah, it's...
And, like, they have 3 kaiju on them or whatever, and there's water, like, spilling into the freaking cockpit, and they're just like, nope, punch things.
Yeah, those guys were pretty awesome.
And, like, I felt there was a lot of wasted potential there. I wanted the movie, like, it's a bad place to be in, because I wanted the movie to be longer so more things could be there to develop. But it's like, if the movie was any longer, then it would have been too long.
Yeah.
There was also that weird moment with the Newton's Cradle joke that just...
I don't remember that.
It's when Gypsy Danger is in Hong Kong, I think it is. The place where Hannibal Chow.
Oh, yeah, that! No, I remember that. Yeah, when they punch through and they barely tap a Newton's Cradle in it.
Yeah, and it, like, that just... That was like, you know, in The Hobbit, when Legolas was Mario, where it just kind of like, it's goofy and out of nowhere. And
why did you do that?
Yeah. So yeah, I liked Pan's Labyrinth better.
Pan's Labyrinth was wonderful.
Pan's Labyrinth scared me when I was a kid.
Pan's
the
Labyrinth...
dude with the eyes on his hand, I'm like,
Pan Man is scary as shit.
Apparently, during one of the first showings of that, Guillermo del Toro sat next to Stephen King. And Stephen King was squirming during that scene.
Jesus.
And Guillermo del Toro said that it was better than any Oscar he could have gotten. That was a fantastic film. Horrifying, but fantastic.
So one other thing I just saw is that Ryan Reynolds shared a picture of the mask prototype for the Deadpool film.
Excellent.
Which is apparently supposed to start filming like in a couple weeks or something.
I'm glad that he has
hopefully
a
the
chance.
mask is like an actual mask.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm excited that Ryan Reynolds gets to play Deadpool. Yeah. Like, he was a phenomenal Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah. He did not get a chance to play Deadpool.
Well, no, he did.
No.
And I really like Deadpool as a character. I'm looking forward to that.
Then he got shafted by being like, hey, you want to be Green Lantern? Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, there'll never be a Deadpool movie, so sure, why not? Yeah. And then there was.
That Green Lantern movie was all sorts of disappointing.
Alright, should we wrap this up?
I think so, yeah.
About time. So, thank you for watching the Mach7 Podcast, the best podcast on earth. I don't know why other podcasts even try. Can't believe I got that on my first try. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Well done.
So we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, we have a website, we are on iTunes.
We're on iTunes, yeah. Flagged under explicit. So
just because, you know, sometimes we're explicit, sometimes we're not. I'd rather cover all the bases rather than have one.
We say fuck sometimes.
Occasionally, like, you know, just that. Yeah. And I'm not going to go through and edit every single swear word because that's way too much work. I don't want to do that. So,
especially when Travis is salty.
Yeah, when he's
damn.
The salt can really pour out of him sometimes. So, Dips Trouble says, stick tuned next week for a new episode. And thank you for listening.
Peace out.
Bye.
Yay!